I found the most fascinating agility training method on Reddit involving your player-owned house and a lot of money. People have been asking for AFK agility training for a long time. Well, here it is. How it works is pretty simple. First, you need to build a dungeon in your house. In fact, you actually need 90 construction to build your own agility course. But the good thing is you can use other people's houses to do this as well. And it also works for Iron Man accounts. Now, the very first thing you should build is Oubliette, an item you probably never even heard of. This is going to be your respawn point. Oubliette. Sorry, I just really like saying that word. Then you build 2 corridors with 8 traps in total, costing you 800k GP. And finally, at the end of the corridor, you build a treasure room, and inside that treasure room, you build a Tox Hill, which costs another 5 million GP. Oh, and one more thing, you need to turn on challenge mode in your throne room, which I think is another 500k GP. This basically activates all the monsters and traps in your dungeon. And when you finally put all that together, turn on your protection from range and let the monster attack you over and over again. Each time you successfully go through the trap, you gain 20 agility experience. But the catch here is that it's very unlikely you will pass through all 8 traps, because unless you already have 99 agility, the chances of you failing traps are pretty likely to happen. And when you do fail the trap, you will spawn back at the empty Oubliette at the start of the course. But since you have auto retaliate turned on, you will get dragged towards the monster again. So you just go around circles, spawn at the start, get dragged in, complete the traps, gain agility experience, fail, and start over. This method comes around 20 to 25,000 experience per hour, so obviously doing rooftops is twice as fast for most players. But the catch here is that you can leave this going for sometimes up to 5 minutes without touching your game, and it will still continue to gain experience. To me, it's kinda like shooting stars, but for agility. Insanely AFK, still okay experience, but just takes a little bit setting up to get to work. There are going to be cases where you do complete all the traps and go through the entire course, and in that case, just run back until you fail and you spawn at the Oubliette again. Usually it just takes another extra click to start over. Now, I did this with range-based monster, and I spent 5 million GP to build that monster. But what I've heard is that you can also do this with splashing, which just requires another player at the end of the room, and that is basically free. But I also didn't test it out with my other account, because by that point I already spent about 25 million GP doing trial and error for this method, and I didn't feel like spending another 12 million GP on a pond. So someone please do this also with splashing and let me know how it works. Now, I love this kind of stuff. I live for these niche RuneScape facts that just not many players know about. And that player-owned agility course made me wonder if there are more interesting and useful old school RuneScape facts out there. And I found some that everyone should know about. For example, I recently did one of the most tedious grinds of getting 70 to 85 Slayer. I hate that grind, because to me there is nothing exciting about Slayer until you get to that around level 85 mark. At that point you can tackle Slayer bosses, the loot becomes so much better, etc, etc. But recently I learned that I've done one task completely wrong, and that's trolls. You see, I am lazy. I like to chill when playing RuneScape, and I think putting tons of intense effort into this game just doesn't feel right. So when I found out that you can Nightmare Zone Slayer tasks, I was over the moon, and especially Troll Slayer task. The key here is to pick the trolls on the list you already defeated during quests, and they give good Slayer experience while you put almost zero effort into it. The good thing about Nightmare Zone is that bosses like the Ice Troll King lose their special mechanic they had during the quest, so it just becomes a normal melee attacking monster. I bring Bracelet of Slaughter for longer tasks, I bring Bone Crusher for free prayer experience, since you do need 5 monsters in total. I also pick Count Trainer and Sand Snake as my final options, and then I just going down. One troll task is about 35,000 Slayer experience in total with the bracelet, and it is the most AFK chill way to train ever. You gain prayer experience, combat experience, Slayer experience, and you literally put zero effort into it. I used to hate troll tasks, but now I just open up a movie, and after the movie is done, I magically have plus 35,000 Slayer experience on my accounts. Highly recommend. You know how the GE bots keep spamming and advertising their websites, and every time you put them on the ignore list after reporting, another one shows up 3 minutes later. I actually showcased in one of my older videos how you can use chat filters to ignore older messages, and it works pretty well, but they still pop up from time to time, so you're kind of forced to put them on your ignore list. And the problem is that ignore list can only hold 400 names, and if you've been actively reporting these bots every week, that list fills up pretty quick. Well, apparently there is an option to to delete the names on your ignore list that get banned, so you free up space to put more bots there. This way it doesn't fill all the 400 slots, and since these bots for the most part do get banned daily, you can just keep putting them on your ignore list while the system automatically runs a daily process to remove the banned accounts from your list. Okay, you know what, let's do a quick fire round of few fun facts. Did you know that you can be killed during a random event, especially the Desert Treasure 2 surprise boss who attacks you anywhere? The interesting part here is that you do regenerate back your full hit points instead of actually dying, because all random events are safe areas. This also means that let's say you're in a picky situation, low hit points, poisoned, venom or whatever, you can restore your stats to full if a random event does pop up that you need to complete somewhere else on the map. So in this scenario, after the mysterious figure killed the player, he just disappeared and the player continued with the mime event like nothing happened. Next one is in Grand Exchange. You can turn your ruby rings into Ring of Forging for 250 GP each. Just talk with Murky Matt here to complete the process, and in fact, Ring of Forging are now free to play items, meaning it's actually a pretty okay moneymaker for free to play beginner players, since you now get 100% iron bars from your ores. Next we have another new player tip. When making a normal account for the first time, make sure you click the box that you're a new player, even if you're not, because Jagex just implemented adventure pods, which gives so many different rewards for basically completing anything in the game. Runes, arrows, experience lamps, you name it. It's a great boost for a new account if you're planning to return to the game, and it just takes few minutes to obtain. If you're looking to get your miscellaneous favor up really fast, forget about mining, woodcutting or farming. Instead, come buy the flowers from the flower girl and you can earn 1% miscellaneous approval rating every time you buy some flowers. It is the fastest way to earn kingdom favor in the game. And finally, Jagex is often using the same assets in different storylines. So for example, using the Monkey Madness valve also controls the water flow in the Elemental Workshop. Or another example, the spiny bushes in Temple Trekking for the Bog event are also used in Lumbridge Swamp. They even give out the same useless stick to you. Or do you remember how you had to fill the crate with bananas during the Pirate's Treasure quest? Well, you can also fill a different crate with bananas in Ape Atoll and it counts towards your quest completion. My personal favorite double asset incident in Old School RuneScape is when you're thieving the chest in Fremennik, and they also somehow count towards the Ardoin Hemister chest diary task, because as it turns out, both of them share the same ID for chests. So you can do one or the other, you will still complete your Ardoin diary task. And finally, there was a time where you were able to open the door in Artie Cloak Tower with the key from Ernest the Chicken quest, because the door was exactly the same asset until Jagex realized this and changed it. Well, that was fun. Okay, let me show you one last thing before we end the video, and this is especially useful for all the Ironman or people who just want to make some easy GP through either glue scrolls or implinks. There is a way to make the process of catching eclectic implinks automatic to a point where you only have to click on the implink once and it fills your entire inventory with the jars. And here's how you do it. As soon as the implink spawns, click on it and then immediately click on your progress hat. If you don't have a progress hat, you can get one for free in the Mage Training Arena. After you click once, click for the second time again to make sure the dialogue runs out at the same time as the implink would spawn again. The dialogue of the progress hat runs out, you catch the implink, and since this is what's called interface stall, you will automatically continue catching the implinks as long as you click twice on the progress hat at the right time. If you don't know what interface stall is, the best example for this is opening up your bank while you're poisoned, and as long as your bank tab is opened, the poison will not damage you. You can run out the entire poison duration without taking a single damage, and that's what's called interface stalling. In here, it's pretty much the same example. The reason why this is faster is because you don't have the server delay of catching implinks, which is 0.6 seconds. Instead, the server thinks you're always catching the implink, so it catches it automatically every time the implink comes up. Just click the progress hat twice, spacebar the dialogue, and repeat the process. Not only do you catch implinks much faster with this method, up to about 150 implinks more per hour, but you also don't need to pay that much attention doing this method. It becomes very automatic process. The best part is, since one inventory of eclectic implinks are around 130k GP, this is pretty chill way to make firstly money, or secondly get some medium glue scrolls. Now yes, you can just do the old-fashioned method of spam clicking one spot and it works fine as well. But if you're looking for fast ways to earn implinks, this is your best bet. But that's it from me. If you learned something new today, make sure to subscribe. I hope you all have a wonderful fall 2024, and I'll see you all tomorrow with another video. I love you all very much. Bye.